Hi everybody, all my followers, be welcome to another video. Right, let me see where to start. First of all, this is gonna be a talking video. For you guys that don't like my talking videos, you know what to do, just go elsewhere. Now, I don't know, well, to start with, I'll have to make sure that this video is gonna be published in the right sequence. So it's gonna be 3 videos, where the video before this one is gonna be for that XF Jaguar 2009, I think it is 2008, then I'll have to publish this video, and then the next one that I'm going to do just after this. So the first thing I want to say is why this talking video. So this talking video is not to rant about anything, is not to complain about anything. It's purely, guys, to get you involved. I'd like to hear your opinions. I'd like to hear how would you guys deal with something like this. And not that I'm having an hard time, but I don't know, in the back of my head is always that thought that maybe they're gonna think So let me explain the story. First of all, guys, I'm gonna leave a link somewhere here in the description as well for the video before. For you guys that haven't seen it, I would really advise you to watch that video, because otherwise it might not going to make too much sense, this one. I'm going to try to take you through all the bits and bobs but on this video, but I really would advise you to watch the other video first. So basically, this car came to me with a ABS problem. Again, guys, and I'm not going to mention that a couple times throughout this video, but yeah, watch the other video first, so this makes more sense. But the car came with an issue with the ABS, ABS, ESP or DSC, as Jaguar call it. So ABS, DSC, and was coming up with a fault EBC or something like that. So brake system fault, something along those lines. And these guys was roughly what was coming up. Let me come here a little bit more on the side so I can make these pictures a little bit bigger. So these guys was the issues the car was coming up with. So yeah, so long story short, the problem why the car was throwing all these faults was to do with a poor ground at the ABS module. Yeah. So that was basically the root cause of those faults. As you have seen on that video, if you haven't, go and watch it. I got it repaired, extensively tested the car. Well, extensively, I tested the car for about half an hour maybe. Braking hard to make the ABS to act up. Went on to some roads, back roads around here where there is grass or weeds on the side of the road, so I could actually drive on the side and brake hard so I could make the ABS on that side of the car to act up, then do exactly on the other side. A couple of places where I managed actually to make the whole car ABS to work. Obviously the ESP is a slightly different story. You need to make the car to kind of go sideways in order for the ESP to act up. I couldn't make that, obviously, or I probably could if I would go to some really spaced area, but anyway, if the ABS was working, everything else would be. I got no faults back, and I drove the car again for about 25 minutes, no problems at all. Now this was basically a quick summary of the initial repair with the car. So got that repaired, and then I've rang the guy to come and pick up the car. He came to pick up the car. I was doing night shifts, so this was between my nights. I asked him to come before 9 because obviously I had to go to sleep to work again on night shifts. And the guy came, was about, I don't know, 7:30, somewhere around there. Obviously I said, look, the car is done, blah blah blah, and he picked up the car and off he went. Within, I don't know, 10 minutes, I was just about to go to bed, when I got a text message and on WhatsApp, and I've seen the text message was coming from him. And I thought, no, please, no. I opened the WhatsApp, I opened the text, and it was a voice message, which I'm not going to play here, but it was a voice message where he was saying the light came back on, and was a picture, this picture. And as soon as I look at that picture, I knew straight away that was a completely different problem. And some of you out there that are familiar with working on cars or with some car issues, if you look at this picture, you will see that this indicates a completely different problem. And the first clue to me was the restricted performance fault, that to me indicates a completely different issue. And the fact that the only light that came on was the DSC light. As you can see on the other side, it should come up, or it was coming up, also with a ABS fault. I replied this to the guy, so you can see that's what I said to him, which he actually did. Within 10 minutes, the guy was here. At this point, as you can understand, it's a little bit tricky sometimes to explain that although the same light came back on, not all the warnings came back on, but also that you can have a problem caused by different issues. Now, when he came to pick up the car, he came with his mechanic. Well, I don't know why I'm doing this. He works as a mechanic for him, a technician, whatever you want to call it. So he was the owner of the garage that I did this for, and the mechanic that came with him to drop him off to pick up the car. And I've waited for him to come back to start to explain exactly what was going on. And the first thing I've done was explain to both of them. I've asked the mechanic, I said, look, when you had the initial fault with the car, have you scanned the car? And he said, yes. I said, do you remember what was the fault in there? And he said, no, I don't. So, okay. So I grabbed the Maxi-Sys, I went on the history of the scans, and I've loaded the scan of the actually initial fault, which you guys might have seen on the video, was this fault here. So that was the initial fault with the car, and obviously I loaded these from the history of the car, and I explained to them, look, this was the problem. I more extensively explained it exactly what was causing the fault, because initially when they picked up the car, they asked me what was the problem. I said, well, it was lack of ground, it was poor ground for the ABS module. They didn't ask any more details, so that was it. He picked up the car and he went. But this time I extensively, because I knew what was coming. So, or I knew what could possibly be coming out of this. So I extensively explained to the guy, look, this is what happened. That was where the problem was. It was a poor ground, blah, blah, blah. I explained it all. And then I started to scan the car again. So when he dropped the car the second time, he literally dropped the car and turned it off. And when I started the car second time, the light didn't come back. But I said to him, look, I can guarantee you, and this was as the hotel was loading, I said to him, I can guarantee you 1000% that this is going to be a different fault. And I said, and this fault is going to be engine related. So, and then the owner of the garage turned around and he goes, yeah, but the same light came back on. Oh, I just cringed and I thought, I know the same light came back on, but the light that came back on now is indicating a problem with the engine. Now, I've explained this back on some videos where the ESP can throw a fault if there is something wrong with the engine. Basically, I explained this a little bit more extensively back on some videos, but for you guys that work on cars, this is not rocket science. You will understand this very quickly, or you already know. You already know this can happen. But for you guys that are not familiar, basically, and that's the reason why only the DSC light came back on and not the ABS, because the ABS will carry on working as normal even with this fault on. But the ESP, basically, the ESP, when the ESP acts up, so if you are losing control of the car and the ESP acts up, the ESP takes control over the engine. Or it doesn't take control, but ESP will tell the engine what to do. If it needs to accelerate, let's say full throttle for 1 second so the wheels gain traction again, the ABS will tell the engine to do that, or it will tell the engine, even if you have your throttle to the bottom, the ABS will tell the engine, the computer, ignore the inputs of the accelerator, I want you to back off the power, I want you to completely back off the power, and the engine will do that. The problem when there is an engine problem or an engine fault that can affect the torque of the engine, the ESP, obviously that fault is communicated through the network, and the ESP will tell, hold on a minute, with that problem, if I need to get the ESP to work, it's not gonna be effective. So the DSC light, so the ABS module throws a DSC light. I hope everything I'm saying makes sense. So in the meantime, as I was explaining all of this to them, I've loaded the data, I've loaded and I scanned the car, and the first place where I went was the ABS pump, ABS unit. And as you can see, this was the fault. I knew straight away it would be a different fault. And I showed them, I said, look, you see, so this is telling me, it's not telling me there is a problem with the ABS. What this is telling me is that there is something in the engine that is going to affect how the ESP is going to work. And therefore, the ABS module will say, look, with this fault, this data is no good, so I'm going to disable the ESP, because if I need the ESP to work, it's going to give, is not going to act up effectively, so I'm going to disable the ESP side of things, or DSC side. Then I showed them this, and then I went straight into the engine ECU, scanned the engine ECU, and bear and behold, that's the fault. Okay, so I explained this to them, and I tried to highlight the fact that this is a separate issue, because on the back of my head, and honestly, they said they understand and it makes sense, etc., etc. But what they're going to think behind my back, I don't know. Did they really understood what I've explained? Did they really got the grasp that this is a separate issue than the one before? Even though I showed them the scans, I showed them the engine code and all that stuff, or the engine trouble code and all that stuff, but I don't know. I thought just to make this video to kind of spark some sort of discussion around this topic, and I would like your opinion. I'd like you guys, comments below, tell me if you ever had an issue similar to this, how you deal with it. Should I have done something different, explaining to them all of this? I can obviously print out all the diagnostics. They are all still on the MaxiSys. I can print out all the diagnostics. I can't be any more clear than this, I guess. But how do you deal with this? Would you repair this for free maybe now? Obviously I can't, because, I mean, I can do the diagnostics for free, it's no problem, but if he needs an AGR, or he needs any parts, if he needs any time into it, which most likely he will, that video will come straight after this. Obviously it's a little bit tricky. I mean, it's a part-time for me, as you guys know. I do this to help a few colleagues and friends. The owner of this garage, I know him for years. And yeah, but it's a tricky situation, I think. Again, these guys, they seem to understand what I was explaining, but it's not always the case. Yeah, I don't know, guys. Just leave your comments below. Let me know what you guys think. If I should have done something different, if I should have... I don't know, I think I've done everything I could. I showed them the faults before. I showed them even before I scanned the car, even before I got the results on the MaxiSys. I told them straight away, this is going to be a different issue. And I showed them on the screen. I said, look, you were having X, Y, and Z lights coming on. You can see now you don't. You only have these lights. The reason why this light is coming up is because there is something on the engine that is affecting the torque. is affecting the engine performance, etc., etc. And I said, I'm sure you never had this, or at that time this restricted performance warning message was not coming up, which indicates something completely different. And this was all before I even scanned the car. And when I've scanned the car, bang, different faults in there, nothing to do with the original fault. 15 minutes already, too much talking. But I just thought to engage you guys a little bit, to get your opinion, etc., etc. And yeah, now we're going to go back into it, see what is causing that EGR fault to come up. So that's it, guys. Leave your comments below, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Not a lot to learn, I guess, but I hope you enjoyed the video still. And again, leave your comments, questions below, and like always, thanks for watching.